In this video, you're going to find out 4 amazing ways to keep your data clean and your data collectors happy using this one little feature called Choice Filter. This feature allows you to remove options from a choice list in a follow-up question, or only include options selected from a previous question. Remove ugly space from under a group name using a quirky little hack that I'm going to show you how. Filter out unrelated locations or choices based on a previous answer, also known as Cascade Select, and use your Choices tab as a lookup table. This one's pretty complex, so stick around to the end so you can see how cool this is. Go ahead and download the example XLS form I use in this tutorial by clicking the link in the description below. You'll then have the option, when you download that, to sign up to get an email directly from me each time I publish a new tutorial. Okay, so what are some of the problems you might be having that this choice filter could help solve? Well, messy location data, first of all. Sometimes if you collect that using text, it gets spelled in different ways, and you need a way to kind of collect location data better. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Also, duplicated data selections that you have to clean up later. So don't choose this if you've already chosen it before. We're going to totally take care of that problem. Your form isn't really also reacting to the data being entered into it. So your data collectors aren't super excited about entering data in your form. We're going to take care of that problem too. We want your forms to be super cool and your data collectors to be really happy with you, okay? On top of all of this, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and you might not yet know how to use choice filters. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, I don't know how to code, or my problem isn't that important, or my program isn't that big, so our problem isn't really that big of a deal. Well, we all start somewhere, and today is your day to start improving this one little area of form design. So jump in with me. I know you're gonna love this. So our very first question is this: what are your top 3 needs? Okay, and we might choose 3 needs that the interviewee has told us, okay? What we want the question to do is to then take those 3 options that they selected and only use those 3 options for the next question, okay? So you can imagine doing this with whatever questions you're dealing with, okay? You have a big long list, you want them to select a few items off that list, and then in the follow-up question, you want those selections to be the choices for the next list, okay? Access to shelter, access to food, access to legal support. Please choose your top need. Okay, so I choose my top need, and then the next question again filters out that one, so we can remove the chance that they will duplicate the option and choose the same thing twice, okay? Please choose your next top need, okay? So then we have chosen the top 3 needs, and then we've ranked them, okay? So this is one way to do that. All right, so on the screen, we have our XLS form for this questionnaire. And all I've set up basically are the questions themselves, and each of those questions has a variable name, okay? And that's what's in this name column. And then the type of question is just to select multiple, and then we have 3 select ones, okay? And you can see that we're choosing from the list name, or the options list, that's called needs. So if we go in our choices tab, we actually see this is the list name needs, and these are the options, okay? So we have the English label here, and we have the variable name for each of those options in this name column. So the very first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a very quick constraint here that they need to select 3 options in that first question. So they can't select 2, they can't select 4, they must select 3, okay? And whenever I add a constraint, I always put a little constraint message in there to tell them what went wrong if they see this. Okay, so you've added your constraint and your constraint message. So now, what do you need to do for the choice filter? Well, on your first question, you don't actually need to put anything in your choice filter. Let's just scroll over here so you can see this kind of exactly where it is. So we've got our choice filter column here. And then I'm going to say, please choose your top need. Now in my choice filter column, I'm going to say selected, and then I'm going to say what question I want to refer to. So I want to refer to the top 3 needs question, okay? So I'm going to say top 3 needs. So what have I selected in there? And I'm going to put a comma and name, okay? Now, what is that name referring to? It's literally referring to this column here, name. So this is what's stored in your Collect app when you choose 3 options. It's, when I choose food or access to food, it actually stores food in the background of my form. And so it's going to say, filter out the ones wherever you selected, whatever was selected in here, filter those out and only show those, okay? So whatever was selected, use that as the choice filter. So what about for our second one, where we have a second need, where we want to choose the same list, but we then want to remove whatever was selected in our first need. So all I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy and paste this, Control-C, Control-V, all right? And then I'm going to put a space, and we want to remove something now. So I'm going to say, and not selected in first need, and comma, name, okay? And then 2 brackets to close not and selected both off, okay? So now I want to filter it for whatever was selected in my first question, but then not include whatever was selected in my first need option. And then for my third need, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste that, okay? So I want whatever was selected in my first question and remove anything that was selected in my first need, and let's remove, so not selected second need, name, okay? And that is literally how you set up the choice filter for that kind of question type, okay? So you can select a subset by using that as the filter, and then you can remove ones from that filter that were selected later on by just using that not selected construct. Now, if this is confusing, don't worry. This template that I'm creating in this tutorial is available for download at the link in the description below. So go ahead and download that. You can work along with me or just use it and modify it for your own purposes. All right, so what about another option? So let's pop back into our phone, the phone again, and I'm going to choose 3 options here. And the question I'm asking here is, what are your top 3 needs? But we also want to include an other option at the bottom of our list in case they have another need that we haven't included. Okay, so this doesn't have to be needs data. This can be anything, any choice list you want to select from, but you might want to include an other option, okay? If we swipe forward, the next question you're going to want in this construct is, please specify that other option. So let me enter something. Great. Once I have identified what that other need is for myself, I'm going to say next, and it now has just pulled out those 3 options, just like we did before. Please choose your top need. So access to legal support, education, or you can see that I chose other, which is pregnancy support, which I've identified. So maybe pregnancy support is my top need, legal support is my next need, and access to education is my last need. So again, this is exactly the way we've done it before, but I'm just going to show you how to tweak it so that you can use other. Okay, so back on screen here, we have exactly the same setup, except now I'm including the other option. So the first thing you need to note is that in the constraint column, we've added a couple of options here, okay? So what I'm saying is that the count selected has to equal exactly 3. So it can't be 2, can't be 4. Or, and then this is a whole construct here, or the count selected has to be less than or equal to 3, and they've selected other. So this is kind of saying, like, if they've selected other, the count selected can be less than 3. It could be 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so sometimes maybe they don't have any needs that are on the list, and it's just other, okay? And so for that, we would just use that other option. We would only allow 1 choice. If they selected other and 1 other choice, they could do that, or if they selected 2 and another, that's fine. So we're basically saying, or if they selected other, you can allow less than 3, up to 3 choices, okay? And then in here, we then have something called please specify your other need, okay? Now, in the choice list over here, I've put now a needs to list, okay, for this option. So you can see that in this example, I'm now using, it's exactly the same list, but I wanted to have it a bit different so that I could show you how to use it with other. Okay, needs to. So needs to has other, and all I've done in here with other is I've stuck something in here that says specify, and I've referred back to other need. Okay, so other need, we'll just put in whatever they enter here. It will show up just like it did when I showed you the example. So please specify the other need. This is called other need. So once you specify that, it will show up in your list. So that's kind of cool how that works, okay? We've put that in, and we've just added a relevancy here. So in the relevant column, so this is your skip logic. If they selected top 3 needs with other, then you will show this question, okay? You wouldn't show this question unless they entered that. Now we're back to exactly the same choice filter. So where we have top 3 needs name, top 3 needs name, and not selected the first option, and top 3 needs. Okay, so you already kind of know how to do that. What you just need to kind of take into account is if they have an other option, you might just want to do a little bit of tweaking in terms of skip logic and relevancies and constraints in terms of what are they allowed to enter. Let's then pop into our next example. All right, so what was the most useful item you received in the distribution? Now you can see that this is a question and it has a list. It's a select one question, okay? Maybe the most useful thing I received was hair care products, okay? So if I respond to that and swipe forward, it's then going to give me the same list. What was the second most useful item? Baby care products, okay? But you can see that it actually removed hair care products. And now this one, both baby care and hair care products have been removed. What was the third most useful items? Feminine hygiene products, okay? So this is almost exactly what we did in the first question with just removal of that first step. So let's take a look at how to set that up very quickly. Okay, so on the screen, you can see that we have one list called items, okay? So here's my items list. And what was the most useful item you received has no choice filter on it. But when we come to the second most useful, all I've put in there is that not selected construct. So not selected, and then we're referring back to this question, most useful, and we're referring to this column, name, okay? So I've already kind of shown you how to do this in the first couple of examples. This one, you're not kind of using your, selected construct and kind of making a sub-selection. You're just saying, give them exactly the same list, but just remove the ones they've previously selected so you don't get duplicate answers, okay? So that is how you set that one up. Now, in order for you to have this filtering option where you're using a choice filter, but you also have an other option, okay? What you need to do is normally here at the top in your XLSForm, this will usually be called the label column, okay? If you only have a single language, it will always be called the label column. But if you want to use this form with choice filter and an other, I don't know what is sitting somewhere in the background of the Collect app. You basically need this to specify a language. Label or 2: English, okay? In order to get that to work, you then need to say hint 2: English, and you have a constraint message over here, constraint message 2: English, and in your choices tab, you have to have label 2: English. So this is a very particular little quirk of KoBo Toolbox ODK. So make sure that if you have choice filter and an other option that you want to be working with, you also specify the language in your label column, okay? So quick tip for me. Now, the next example I want to show you, shown here on my phone, is something called a Cascade Select. So for district, I'm going to be able to select a district, okay? So maybe you're doing data collection in a particular country. Okay, what district are you in? So I'm gonna say I'm in District 3. Now if we scroll down to now say, well, what settlement are you in? Okay, or town. I'm in Town 3. It will show you a marketplace, okay? So I'm looking at marketplaces maybe for market assessment, and I'm going to choose Marketplace 3. And what it's done is if I choose District 4, I can only select Town 4, and then I can select Marketplace 4. If I choose District 7 and Town 7, it gives me options of Marketplace 7 and Marketplace 8 and other. Okay, so this construct is basically called a cascading select, where we have a long list of towns and a long list of marketplaces, but each marketplace is in a particular town and each town is in a particular district. And so every time we make a choice, that long list of towns and marketplaces gets filtered. So let's then look at how you set this up inside your XLSForm. So let's see here, we have a select one district, and that is just normal. We're gonna select any district. So in the background, you can see we have a district list, okay? And those are the options, okay? District 1 through 7 plus another option. Then we have a settlement, okay? And now there are a couple of ways that you could actually write this. So you could say contains, but what we could also say is that district index equals, and then we're gonna say whatever was entered in district, okay? So all that would go and look for is in choices, we can see that we have put another column up here called district index. And it's just going to say, as long as district index equals district, then filter out those ones. So let's look at district index. We can see here that for town 1, we've put district 1 as the filter. Okay, so in district index, you can say this town is in this district. And we're always pulling from the name column. Okay, so don't pull from the label column. Say district 1 is here. District 5, 6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we've got all of these here. Now, if you have the other column, okay, so this is what I'm going to show you here as a little trick. If you have the other column, all I've done here is I've created a concatenation of all of the districts and other, and I've included them all. I didn't put any spaces, I didn't put any fancy characters, special characters, I just concatenated them. The way I did that in Excel, I just put equals, concat, open bracket, and then I just went here, comma, this one, comma, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. However you want to do it, I don't really care. And it just creates this text here. Now, I did copy that, paste special as a value, basically, so I don't have the formula anymore, I just have the actual text. So that's how I did that. So I want other to appear for any of these district options, right? So in order to do that, instead of just saying district index equals district, what I'm going to do is say contains, open bracket, district index, comma, whatever was entered in district, close bracket, okay? And that's just saying if this index contains what we selected here, then choose it. Now, for other, that works really well because we've contained all of the districts, so this will pop up for whenever we select any district, then we'll also get other. So we've done exactly the same thing here then for marketplace. We want to put in a filter that it contains whatever they selected for settlement. Okay, so that is how you set up something called a Cascade Select, with a little trick for how you deal with other in a Cascade Select, which always can be a little bit tricky. But I found this trick on the forums and I thought it was super. So I think I've put a link in the description below if you want to go check out the forum discussions where I've pulled in some of this fun information. But I thought that was a great trick that was shared and useful for all of us to kind of take note of that and see how do we do other. Great. So what is another way we can use choice filter? So I'm going to swipe forward here again on the phone, and I want you to take a special note of this. On the top here, you see marketplace location, and in brackets, this is a note type question. And then you see there's this like white space. There's this big ugly white space underneath market location. Can I draw this here? Like, what is this space hanging out here? Okay, so how do we get rid of that? Well, we can use a select one question. So in this marketplace location question, okay, here, this is then a marketplace location select with choice filter. So it's a select question and it has a choice filter, and it allows you to kind of put a title or a note without that big white ugly space underneath. How cool is that? So I'm going to show you how to do that next, okay? And then we can kind of enter, whatever. So this is whatever. But if this was kind of a title, I should probably say your personal details instead of marketplace location. But how do you kind of make that big, ugly white space disappear from a note? And if any of you have used notes before, you're probably going to be very excited by this because you probably have experienced the big white ugly space. So in your XLSForm, all you're going to do, so this is the use choice filter to remove space after note. Marketplace location, this is a note, this is a select one. So you can see here, this is a note question, and this is a select one question. Now it's referring to district, doesn't really matter. You can choose any choice list, like this really doesn't matter. Select one with any list. I've put in 5 of these kind of pound signs in the beginning, and that actually means it will become like a little header in your form. So that's called markdown styling or markdown. And then in the choice filter, all I'm going to put is false. That's it. And then we have a select one that is saying no choices, false. Choice is false. And now your select one becomes a note with no ugly space. So thumbs up for this trick. So okay, let's then pop into the next way that you can use choice filter, okay? And it's a little bit exactly the same, okay, as what we just did. It's just used in a little bit of a different way. So you can see here at the top, use choice filter equals false to allow lookup of values from choices tab. So this is now just saying marketplace GPS is latitude and longitude. Now we didn't take that GPS because let's pop into the XLSForm. Okay, so we've got this example. If we go into choices, you can see that for each of these marketplaces, okay, so we have our district index and our settlement index. That was used for the Cascade Select. Then I've just put in latitude, longitude, and a GPS index, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's just saying how many points I have. And then I've got a latitude and longitude for each of my marketplaces. And I've just put those in there because I already know where those marketplaces are. Now, you could put latitude, longitude, you could put phone numbers, you could put details of an item if you're doing a marketplace assessment. You could do like weight and color. You could put anything you want in here. Don't make it sensitive data. So I wouldn't put personal data in here because it's not encrypted and it's stored on someone's phone. But you can put in kind of basic lookup details that are associated with your choice list, okay? So for this marketplace, I now know that this is the latitude and this is longitude. But how do we do this, okay? So in here, so we've got, this is our kind of little group here. All we need to do is make sure that the list, the choice list that this comes from, so marketplace, has something in the choice filter box, something. And what I'm gonna put is just false, okay? So it's, when we do that, what happens in ODK is it creates something called an instance, okay? So when you create a new form, this whole form here is called an instance. So you have an instance. But now we want to create an instance out of our list, okay? Don't worry too much about the technical details, and I'm not a programmer, so I'm not gonna be able to explain all of the hardcore details to you. But what we want to do is turn that choice list into an index. And by calling the choice filter, just saying false next to something, select one, false. Now we know that this select one just turns this, and by saying false, it just turns this into a note, just like in our previous example. Okay, so this select one marketplace with false just means this is a note. Okay, so it won't ask for any response. But by calling it false, it also turns that list into an index and means we can look up data from it. So then in here, all I've done is I've done 2 calculate questions. And I've said instance marketplace, okay? So you know that I'm getting that name from marketplace here. So it's turned this into a lookup table that's called marketplace. And I'm gonna say the root slash item, okay? That's always what you want. And we're gonna say name equals marketplace. Okay, so marketplace is coming from up here. Up here, we know that marketplace was, say, marketplace 1 or marketplace 2. And we're just gonna say wherever the name from this list equals that marketplace, go and grab the latitude. So calculate the latitude, it's gonna go look up. If we chose marketplace 7, it's gonna say, okay, wherever marketplace 7 is, go and grab the latitude. And it's gonna bring it into here as calc latitude, okay? So it's gonna just store that number, that latitude, in this variable. And then calc longitude, we're gonna do the same thing. Go look in the instance marketplace, look at the root, look at the item, wherever the name equals marketplace, so let's say that was marketplace 7 again, go and grab the longitude, okay, and store it here. And then I've just put this note question here, or the select one that we've turned into a note, and said latitude equals this, longitude equals this, and we're just calling these, okay? So that's super complicated, but again, just go and download this out of the description below, and you can use this template to kind of figure out whatever you need to figure out. So you can see here, we chose in this option, marketplace 7. Let's go and see if this matches our choices. So marketplace 7 should be 5.657004 and negative 0.236018. Perfect. And that is the end of this crazy tutorial where we have lots and lots of details in our final XLSForm on how you can use choice filter. Are you excited to go and try this? I hope you are, and I hope that as I've gone through these examples, you've been like, oh, I could use that in that form, or oh, I could use that there. So hopefully you have been inspired. Go on and download the free template I've used in this video. We popped the link in the description below. Now, do you have any more tips or use cases for choice filters? If so, I would love for you to pop into the comments below and leave me your story. What problem did you have? How did you solve it? Or what questions do you still have? We read all the comments we get and try to respond, so jump in below. Now, if you're interested in learning how to take choice filters to the next level and use them inside repeat groups, you're definitely going to want to watch this video next. So pop into that one and I'll see you there.